Hi, Merry Christmas everyone. In this episode, rather than produce a part, I thought I would go through the machines that you see me use, shrinker, stretcher, what they are, how to use them, and where to get them. And I'll explain what some of these dies and things are in order that next time you see us using them, I really should have explained them in greater depth when I was using them in the first place. So that's really what this episode's going to be, and obviously you can see the hat, it's Christmas. It's a time I personally love and like. And if I can ask you all again, being that it's the season of goodwill, if you could please like, subscribe, definitely subscribe, comment, please comment, so that if you've got anything that I can help you with, I can definitely schedule an episode that will work for you. So without too further ado, I will get this episode on the way and show you what's what with the tools and such like. Hi guys, just a selection here of beads that go on the bead roller, and more to go through them and show you what it is that I use and when it's used and what it's used for. The two flat dies that you see me using, these are mainly used to create flanges. These will shrink and stretch a flange as you're rolling it, and it's only a medium pressure that you have between it, and you generally want to try and keep these two edges together so that you can either flange up or down depending on what you're doing. Having the two flats keeps the flange flat when you eventually get it finished. When you see me doing a raised bead, which is similar to what we done on the side wall of the footwell, what's used there is two art dies, which is these. Now these two dies, depending on the distance between them, will depend on the angle of the shoulder of the bead. So if the bead is an angular shape on the side profile, as this one is, you can change the angle to a degree of this here by simply opening how far apart the beads are. So if you have these two edges further apart, you will have a shallower angle, and the closer you have them together, you'll never get 90 from this, but you'll get somewhere up there. So that's what those two do. You've seen me joggling, which is these two dies, and these two step dies, they allow metal to be spot welded together, two different sheets, and it keeps one face perfectly flat and running true to each other, which is very, very handy. These and these are the same thing. They're just both rounded profile beads that we used on the kicker plate. This one, the female, isn't profiled in the same as the male, but this is the female of a slightly smaller bead, and as you can see, this one is profiled. Sometimes it's good to have it profiled because it will, if you go offline, it will correct itself. Whereas this type, sometimes if you go offline with this, it won't correct itself because it hasn't got the female form. So that leads us from the bead roller to the shrinker stretcher, which you see me use quite a bit. The shrinker stretcher, obviously, you're saying two words at once, but it is two parts. You have one part of it that will shrink, the other part that will stretch. And that's part and parcel of everything that you're doing when you're forming metal. Forming or form is to just add a bend or a shape by either you're doing it over your knee, over a round bar, over an oxy bottle, that type of thing. And shrinking and stretching is the other side of that. That's when you are gathering metal together to get a desired shape, or pushing metal apart and making it thinner. So these are the component parts of this machine. So I'll take this apart and show you. So what you have in this instance, this is a stretcher, and what this does is you have this shape block and you have this piece which is spring loaded with teeth. So when you exert the pressure with your foot, that makes this slide apart, and that is what stretches the metal. And in a shrinker, you're just doing exactly the same as this, but you're doing the opposite of that. And you have jaws. You have jaws above and below, like this, which sit above and below each other. And when you press with the foot pedal, that's what actions the two sets of teeth. So there is a lot of companies that make shrinker stretchers, bead rollers, and the cheapest way to get them is to do it via Chinese imports. You can get these from Met's Tools, but you'll get them cheaper from one of the Chinese importers, and they'll just be the same as far as I can see. If you're in America, it's Harbor Freight. Here it's Machine Mart, Met's Tools, lots of places, but they're all just generically the same. These are standard shrinker stretchers, but the other one that you see me use is a deep throat. That just means that you can reach in further. These can only reach in about an inch, inch and a half. So this is my bead roller. Again, it was one of the Chinese imported bead rollers, which is they're cheap to use, cheap to get. They come and they are manually cranked. So you can see here that I've added a gearboxed motor, which I simply bought from eBay, and I used a chain and a sprocket to drive, and then I use a set of foot pedals for forward and reverse. Some people just use a forward and reverse switch. Personally, I like having the separate pedals. It just makes it easier for when I'm working at both sides of the machine. You have a height adjustment here for getting your pressure for while you're working, and you also have adjustment on this bottom bar, which allows you to set and line up both your dies, doing what you're going to do. I would suggest, if you can afford to get one, they're not very expensive, these. It is, you'll end up running into about £400-500 by the time that you've put a motor on it and things like that, but it's well worth it, and it will do the job for you. Well guys, that's it for this seasonal episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was informative, and I hope I covered everything that you just see me using in previous episodes that maybe I should have went into further depth with. And anyone that's kind of missed it or doesn't get it, ask in the comments section. Definitely please like or subscribe. Have a great holidays, everybody. Enjoy. Goodbye from us. Take care. Bye now.